What's good, y'all? It's your boy Ross back here again with another video. So I'm gonna check out 10 WWE wrestlers who were punished for real life drama. This should be a very interesting one. Wrestlers over the years have done some things behind the scenes, and ultimately they get punished on television, whether they lose their push or it may be a situation where they end up getting jobbed out to people or getting humiliated live on television. And sometimes the fans don't understand why, like what's going on. Just a couple weeks or months ago, this person was being pushed, something happened, now they're in glorified jobber matches, or they're losing to jobbers or people that are like catering all-stars. Like, what's going on here? So we're gonna check out some of them instances where they ended up getting punished on live television for whatever happened behind the scenes.
1, 2.
Is this on?
Sometimes a wrestler's momentum can get taken away due to real-life heat backstage.
We got ridiculed by John Cena in front of the locker room. And then on the ride to the next show, the Raw, we got a good tongue lashing from John Laurinaitis. And then the next day we were fired.
Or the company might see fit to punish a performer for something they've done.
Husky poked John Cena in the eye in a match. Vince was so mad, Cena was so mad that they sent Husky Harris back to NXT.
Perhaps they broke the rules or upset one of the higher-ups.
I farted in a Dusty Rhodes promo class, to which Dusty Rhodes kicked me out of it, got me fired that night, called up Triple H in the morning and got me rehired. Then I got fined for farting. I got taken off shows, and I think me and Big Cass went on a losing streak for a while.
This can be a result of the talent being depushed, taken off TV, or even fired.
Vince saw Stacy before he saw me, hugged her, said he could forgive her because she was a female, but couldn't forgive me because I had shit on the business.
We'll be covering various examples today, as we highlight 10 times a WWE wrestler was punished because of real-life heat.
There was misstep after.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie to you, man. This is the thing about the wrestling business, politicking. People having certain pull, people, having so much pull that they can kind of derail your push. Or if you make one mistake that they really don't like, they could ruin your time in WWE. It's crazy. I don't know how much that happens now. I'm sure it probably still happens to some degree. But, I mean, that's the harsh reality of this business at times.
After misstep on my part. And I think when those guys went to Vince, he was just like, you know what, I'm tired of hearing his name in a negative light, get rid of him.
Vince McMahon seemingly had high expectations for Sabu when he was brought into work the revived ECW.
Rest in peace, Sabu, man.
Brand in 2006.
Oh my God, no, don't do this!
Yep.
Sabu on the top rope! No!
Oh my God!
He was initially pushed quite strongly, being positioned in important matches on TV and pay-per-view.
Look out!
Oh my God!
The problem was the company kept trying to change him.
I'll be a typical babyface, and that's exactly what I'm not, and that's exactly what I was brought up not to be. If I become typical, maybe I could make more money, but I wouldn't be proud of myself.
They wanted him to plan out matches and cut scripted promos with unnatural dialogue.
I'm Sabu. And tonight, the big show is going down. I'll sacrifice anything tonight to win the ladder match.
Sabu barely even spoke in the original ECW.
Yeah, bro. That sounded so awful. You can tell that just didn't fit him. That's insane.
So he requested a manager to talk for him in WWE, but the higher-ups refused. It was about to get worse for Sabu, who became more unhappy with his role in the company as time went on. He spoke about these struggles during interviews with Title Match Wrestling and kayfabe commentaries.
Something the man gave me this script. It was like 3 pages long of words. I can't even pronounce, let alone say them and act like they're my words. So what I did was, I acted like I was reading the script. I tore it up, threw it down. I said, there's your promo, and I walk away.
Stephanie McMahon was unwilling to compromise, and because of Sabu's refusal to follow the script, she made the call to take him out of the Elimination Chamber match at the disgracefully bad December to Dismember pay-per-view. This upset fans. Meanwhile, Sabu was punished by being made to do jobs until he was released 6 months later, after being chewed out by head of talent relations John Laurinaitis over the phone for being late to a show.
I show up way late, and then he goes, Terry, you're doing this and you're doing that. And I go, I don't think so. He goes, why not? I said, my neck hurts. I'm not doing nothing. He goes, you worked with pain before? I said, not anymore, I don't. They end up fired me after that.
Crime Time were one of WWE's
Damn.
better tag teams in 2006 and 2007, as they regularly entertained fans.
Connect with the crowd, the energy, the emotion.
Money. Yeah. Money.
Money. I got money. Yeah. That's right, kid. Congratulations.
Hey, man, rest in peace, Shad Gaspard as well, man. Rest in peace to Shad Gaspard. It don't even seem like it's been so many years. He passed away, I believe, in 2020. It's already been like 5 years, so rest in peace to him, man.
However, it all came crashing down when they were unceremoniously fired in the fall of 07 following an incident which stemmed from the heat they had with the forgettable team of Lance Cade and Trevor Murdoch.
Lance was a total dick. He wanted to be this really kind of a bully to other guys, but I'm not really somebody that, can be bullied very easily.
They're the two phoniest guys in the locker room, because if I ever went into the hood, I want Trevor Murdoch next to me, not you two fools. But we just did not mesh well.
Things came to a head during a house show match when a referee went off script and fast counted Crime Time out to give Cade and Murdoch the win by countout. JTG told the story in an interview with Rip Rogers.
Damn.
Lance and Shad, they got into it backstage, and then I just remember Lance walking up saying, "We'll see you in the ring, we'll see," something like that. I'm like, ugh. In the ring, I believe they got the ref in on it, but tonight I knew I rolled in at 8, and then when I rolled in at 8, the ref said 9-10.
After the crowd chanted BS at the finish, Shad and JTG then called an audible and hit their finisher on the ref afterwards. This ultimately got the team a lot of heat backstage.
Oh,
and
wow.
Then Shad pissed, and Shad took it on the ref. I joined in on it, and then after that, we got ridiculed by John Cena in front of the locker room. And then on the ride to the next show, to Raw, we got a good tongue lashing from John Laurinaitis. And then the next day we were fired.
Crime Time returned less than 6 months later on the night after WrestleMania 24. They would go on to have a memorable second run with the company, lasting until 2010. Cade and Murdoch, on the other hand, were broken up in the summer of 2008 and were both released before the end of the year. Bubba Ray Dudley received one singles push during his WWE career, though it was pretty much over as soon as it began, lasting just 3 weeks after a specific incident sent him back down the card. To set the scene, Bubba had split from Devon in the draft. Then after tagging with Spike for a few months, Bubba entered a program with the world champion Triple H.
And I'm tired of seeing him. This is not the Triple H show. But I guarantee you, your ass is going through that table.
On the September 23, 2002 Monday Night Raw, Bubba was to put Hunter through a table. However, Dudley completely missed as his arm appeared to go limp as he hoisted the game up. This meant Helmsley landed very awkwardly.
Bubba, that's our world champion.
Oh, holy damn. Oh my God.
Bubba had a pinched nerve in his neck, which affected his arm. Though he continued wrestling, Bubba's push ended 7 days later, when he was defeated by Triple H in a match for the world title.
He had a pinched nerve in his neck and was still out there wrestling. That is crazy. And he got a D push because he was working injured? That's wild, bro.
Distraction.
Bubba believes him hurting Helmsley was the reason, as perhaps the game didn't want to work with him one-on-one again after this. Bubba then went back to teaming with Spike before reuniting with Devon in November. He wouldn't find any single success until becoming Bully Ray in TNA 8 years later. Shortly after Bubba got his push in 2002, Tess was given a win streak on Raw whilst managed by Stacy Keibler, his real-life girlfriend at the time.
Hallelujah.
Testicle.
Hey, yo.
Rub me the right way.
Hey. Hey, yo, bro. This, once again, different time in wrestling, y'all. Different time in wrestling. Also, rest in peace to Test as well, man. Jeez.
Oh. Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho.
What?
Tess was also given a new look, first by switching to trunks, and then by having his hair cut.
It's time to cut your hair. Go for it, Jan.
Fans speculated this was because he looked too similar to Triple H, in long hair and trunks. Test was programmed in a feud with Chris Jericho, and the two Canadians were set to wrestle at No Way Out 2003 in Montreal. However, the week prior, Test and Stacy failed to show up for Raw in Columbus, Ohio. Due to a snowstorm, they couldn't make it in time due to no flights being available, and this didn't go down well with Vince McMahon.
There's nothing we could do. The airports were closed. I phoned every rental car place that would not rent to me because it was illegal to be on the road. I offered a limo driver $10,000 to drive me 6 hours to Columbus. He said he couldn't do it because he was afraid of losing his license and his business.
Test wasn't mentioned on the episode of Raw in question and was replaced at No Way Out by Jeff Hardy. The night after the pay-per-view, Stacey was put in a stiff Walls of Jericho, perhaps as a punishment.
Damn.
Vince saw Stacey before he saw me, hugged her, said he could forgive her because she was a female, but couldn't forgive me because I had shit on the business.
This spelled the end of Test's singles push. He went on to lose some matches and then was taken off Raw for a few weeks, before being paired in a tag team with Scott Steiner, someone who had recently lost his push due to bad performance since he was working hurt. Test was later fired from WWE in 2004, whilst recovering from a serious neck injury. The character Mordecai had a very brief...
Here's the thing. If that's the reason and because of bad inclement weather they couldn't get there, then why would they get punished because of the weather being bad unless they had an opportunity to leave before the weather got bad? But if that's the reason why he got de-pushed, and obviously Vince being Vince, only forgiving Stacey because she was a woman, but not forgiving him because he shat on the business. I'm confused by that. There got to be more to that story, man. Maybe there's a video talking about that, because it seems weird to punish someone because Mother Nature. Like, what?
Brief run on SmackDown in 2004, where he was pushed as the anti-Undertaker.
And that is that crucifix-like maneuver, like a razor's edge almost. Hook of the leg, Mordecai.
A liar, a cheater, a thief. He will suffer.
I was on track to wrestle The Undertaker in WrestleMania.
Though plans for potential feuds with Eddie Guerrero and Taker were thrown out of the window after the man behind the gimmick, Kevin Fertig, got into an incident with a patron at a bar. A man had tried to hit on Fertig's wife, but got angry when she declined, and then wanted to fight.
Someone was about to hit me and my wife with a bottle. I intervened, I guess you could say. And I look, and he starts walking towards me. I'm like, oh, no. And I just went, man.
Mordecai was taken off television following the altercation, and the WWE later settled with the bar patron.
But then it started getting really thick on lawsuit and everything else, and it was just time to go away.
Though Kevin was forced to pay much of the settlement fee, which was a hefty amount since the bar patron also required facial reconstructive surgery following the headbutt. Following the lawsuit, Fertig was let go in 2005.
The end is near.
That's cold. So Buddy just defending himself and his wife, gives old dude a headbutt for his troubles. Then they obviously know who he is, try to sue. Wait, is there some, like, what happened to self-defense? I'm confused. Like, why? That's, what? There got to be more to this story, because that's self-defense. If someone's trying to attack you with a bottle, why wouldn't you knock their ass out? Why would you get in trouble for that? Why would they? I mean, yeah, I get them trying to sue because they know you work for WWE, but WWE, well, you were defending yourself. Like, I don't know, man. That's also messed up. What the hell?
He eventually returned to WWE as Kevin Thorne, receiving a small push on the ECW brand in 2006, though he never moved up to Raw or SmackDown and was released in 2008. Eugene got quite a push during his first year in WWE, including 2 big showings at back-to-back SummerSlams, wrestling singles matches against Triple H and Kurt Angle.
He's confused. He doesn't understand.
Oh!
God almighty. What a sickening kick that was. Oh, Eugene's got the chair.
Woo!
My God, what a shot. Eugene just hit Triple H right between the eyes.
However, an incident in late 2005 spelled the end of his push, as Eugene wouldn't be featured in a major program again for the rest of his time with the company. During a European tour, Eugene was found passed out in a hotel lobby and promptly taken to hospital. He was then suspended and placed in rehab since this wasn't a good look for the company, only a week removed from Eddie Guerrero's passing.
My knee surgery, and I probably came back too soon. I had patella repair, which normally guys take about 9 or 10 months to come back. I came back in 6 months.
Ooh.
And then I was taking a lot of medication to try to, push myself through the pain. One fateful night in England, I took a little bit too many of this and too many of that and had a couple beers and passed out in the lobby of a hotel in underwear with all the fans and Triple H.
Upon returning, Eugene was mostly used as an enhancement talent until eventually being released in 2007 after violating the wellness policy.
And I feel like if the doctor said you could do it, the WWE doctor said, here, yeah, you could take those, and then I ended up getting popped on a drug test and got released.
There have been numerous wrestlers who have started to get over organically with the fans.
And here's the thing about that too, like a lot of times back then you've heard the stories of wrestlers just dealing with a lot of pain from a severe injury, and they weren't trying to stay off of TV for that long, because a lot of times it wasn't guaranteed unless you was a top guy that you were going to get your spot back. So if they're giving you a push, or, you know, you're trying to get as much TV time, you know, as possible, then you would sacrifice the full, the full recovery for whatever injury to substitute some pain medicine, some pills to get you through the pain. So, and a lot of times that built up addictions, unfortunately.
Only for WWE to put a stop to things because the talent in question wasn't in their plans, and they had no intention of pushing them. This was less common back in the day, since the company would either listen to the people or quickly halt something just as the reactions began to build, the latter of which happened to Rene Dupree in 2004. Rene had been working on SmackDown where he was pushed as a heel against John Cena. Following the end of their feud, Dupree was starting to get some positive reactions, thanks to his French tickler dance, which the audience were beginning to like.
He's gonna get tickled all right.
Rene received a notable pop during the SummerSlam 2004 pre-show match when he whipped out the dance.
The French tickler. There it is. I'm a French man. I'm a French tickler. I'm a French guy. I love it. I love the dance.
When Dupree got backstage, he was met with anger from agents Michael Hayes and John Laurinaitis, who were upset that Rene was getting cheered as a heel. Dupree explained the situation on his Cafe de Rene podcast.
Michael Hayes said, "Right, we don't want you to do that dance anymore. It's stupid." I go, "Well, it's getting over." He goes, "Yeah, that's the point. You're supposed to be heel. Maybe this is a sign I should turn babyface." "No, we don't want you to get over." And then we're having meetings with Vince McMahon where he says, "Guys, just get over. Just get yourself over." You got the guy who signed you.
That sounds about right. We want you to get over, but when we say we want you to get over, not get over on your own, even though that's the whole point. Okie dokie.
Paychecks was telling you in the meeting to get over. Then you got his, I guess, right-hand man in command telling you don't want you to get over.
This was the end of Rene's initial singles run on SmackDown. The Office's response to Dupree getting cheers was to put him in a bizarre foreign heel team with Kenzo Suzuki, and while they did win the tag titles, Rene lost much of the momentum he had going for him earlier in the year. Enzo Amore was punished by being given a losing streak on NXT for a rather unique reason.
Damn.
Scott Dawson seizing the moment. Dawson for the victory. To his feet. Oh, completely wiped out by Victor and O'Brien. Here's the cover. Victor. Wow. He calls this the accolade. And Enzo taps.
Enzo farted during an NXT promo class, which infuriated head of creative Dusty Rhodes. Dusty was so mad that the punishment was initially more severe.
I farted in a Dusty Rhodes promo class, to which Dusty Rhodes kicked me out of it, got me fired that night, called up Triple H in the morning and got me rehired. Then I got fined for farting. I got taken off shows, and I think me and Big Cass went on a losing streak for a while in NXT.
Enzo eventually shook off the heat in NXT, where he and Cass became one of the brand's most popular and best tag teams, allowing them to ultimately move up to the main roster. Next, we have a gimmick so bad, getting taken off TV was the best thing for him. Husky Harris was a character.
Rest in peace, Bray, man.
From a terrible period of WWE TV in 2010, who was so far removed from the real-life person, Wyndham Rotunda, in a way that wasn't authentic.
I think Husky Harris has a great look. He's interesting, he's intriguing, but he's fat.
Hello.
Do you believe in love at first sight? Or should I walk by again, huh?
After a forgettable run in the game show version of NXT, Husky was put in the second version of Nexus, but again, this just wasn't a good fit. There was a specific incident that got him heat, which spelled the end of Husky's main roster run, that took place during a match featuring John Cena. This was revealed by Baron Corbin during an interview with Chris Van Vliet.
Husky poked John Cena in the eye in a match. Vince was so mad, Cena was so mad, that they sent Husky Harris back to NXT.
And that's a serpent smile.
Oh, I remember this.
And I see this character, Husky Harris. I just see a sad little boy. It was someone that was forced to be something that he didn't want to be, and how he was handled. It was just a terrible, terrible time, a dark period in my life, his life. It wasn't who I am. It's not who I am today. And when I look back at it, it's just I'm just disappointed in Husky Harris. Right. Because it wasn't real, man. It was a figment of someone else's imagination.
Harris would eventually return to the main shows 2.5 years later as the critically acclaimed Bray Wyatt. After 2 solid years in WWE, Mr. Kennedy was set to be revealed as Vince McMahon's illegitimate son in the fall of 2007. That was until Ken was suspended for violating WWE's newly revised wellness policy, a change prompted by the Benoit family tragedy earlier that summer.
You're going to be Vince's son, there's going to be a big long run with it, and all these things planned. And I got a call from the office. They said, yeah, Vince needs to see you in the office. We instituted the wellness policy on such and such a date, and it says here that you received shipments of this, this, and this after the date. I went and saw a doctor, and the doctor just prescribed me testosterone. He said I had low testosterone. They had to do something about it because Congress was coming down on them so much because of the Benoit thing.
WWE explained Kennedy's sudden absence by having Vince suspend him for pretending to be a McMahon.
I told you before, Kennedy may be from Green Bay, but he's been suspended for impersonating a McMahon.
Kennedy's momentum was completely derailed. Then an injury sidelined him for most of 2008. When he came back in 2009, he was let go after his return match for botching a backdrop that hurt Randy Orton.
Don't want to get overconfident because something like that could happen. A back suplex.
Orton and John Cena were said to be livid backstage, and Kennedy was released later that same week. Ken's WWE career was essentially on life support anyway, given all the heat he had from the year prior. Kennedy had previously been blamed for injuring Cena in 2007. Before that, Ken's comments on Fox News following the Benoit tragedy also rubbed many the wrong way.
If he was using steroids, he obviously wasn't, he had passed the drug test, so maybe he injected steroids the day before he died. I don't think the toxicology reports are actually going to prove anything.
Which was especially damaging in hindsight, as he was suspended not long after for a wellness policy violation.
I should have never opened my mouth about the Chris Benoit thing. There was misstep after misstep after misstep on my part. And I think when those guys went to Vince, he was just like, you know what, I'm tired of hearing his name in a negative light, get rid of him.
Kennedy had generated a significant amount of heat backstage, and ultimately it caught up with him. Whether Kennedy's downfall was due to bad timing, internal politics, or his own missteps, fans are still left wondering what might have been if either of his big opportunities had
Yeah, bro, he could have been the next major player in WWE. They were building him up to be the next major guy up. And it's just unfortunate missteps just kept compounding on each other.
Actually panned out. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out a similar video on
This was a good one, man. This was a very, very entertaining video. A lot of wrestlers that have passed away were on this video, so rest in peace to all the ones that was on this particular video, man. But this is how the wrestling business is. 1 minute you're good, next minute you're not, and you know it really can come down to just how someone feels that day. So comment down below, let me know some other wrestling related videos you guys want me to check out. I definitely will. I appreciate all love and support. Road to 150K. Appreciate y'all kicking it with me. See you on the next one. Peace.